Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Red for Anfield Index. Saturday, the 28th of December, just a few days until the new year, just one day until we play West Ham away, which is our final fixture of 2024, isn't it, people? And whatever happens, the Reds will finish 2024 on top of the Premier League and top of the Champions League. Shouldn't ignore that at the same time. Here is ever to join me on Saturday to talk through everything Liverpool related, games, contracts, all these types of things is Grizz Khan. Grizz, good Christmas, good times at the moment.
Excellent times. What a year. Yeah, the way you've just summed it up there, I couldn't disagree. What a crazy, amazing year we've had, hey? Who would have thought we would have lost an iconic manager like Jurgen Klopp, replaced him with a relatively unknown Dutch bald manager from the third probably best team in Holland. So not even the first two. And so...
No.
And then we don't make any signings of any significance in the summer. And then we end up the year, like you said, 7 points clear, is it, right? As we speak? I think it's 7 points clear as we speak of the second place team. Whether the threat is from Chelsea and Arsenal, that's another discussion. But 7 points clear. Dave, how can we not be smiling, happy, content? Yet, as we will touch on, some of us aren't. But hey, that is life. But no, apart from all that, amazing, brilliant time of year. Lots of family time, lots of food, and lots of good, positive vibes, I think.
Yeah, as the Welsh should be, people. And naturally, it's a weird one at this time of year because we're all in that bit as in like, what date is it type of thing. And it's a strange one that on Saturday, at Christmas, Saturday, the 28th of December, you just assume there'd be a packed schedule of things. There is not a single football game in any of the top leagues taking place, realistically. It's a very bizarre day, but there's plenty to think about. And for us, West Ham tomorrow. I mean, this one, Grizz, is before we sort of get into it, does it just feel like, especially at this time of the year, with the games, they come thick and fast. It is a bit of a grind. You've just got to get on the conveyor belt and you've just got to pick up points and the results. That's what it's about and avoid injuries, isn't it?
We've seen this year, especially this year, and we've seen throughout the years around this period is where vital points can be dropped or lost because of the nature of the games being in such short span of times. You know, playing every 3, sometimes even 2 days, you know, it's very difficult to maintain your first team squad levels of quality because you have to rotate, right? And so therefore, if you pick up injuries along the way, it can hamper you. And we'll get into it. For example, West Ham apparently are decimated because of the nature of the period, suspensions, injuries. We have a suspension as well, a couple of injuries left. So yeah, it's that time of year where you got to take, you always got to take each game as it comes, but you really must try to focus in on the game and just accumulate as much as you can because, you know, the slightest mishap in this period can cost you when sort of come end of May. So yeah, look, it's West Ham away. Generally speaking, we're okay there, but we've had a couple of slip-ups there in recent times, especially when Alisson had an absolute howler of a game a couple of seasons ago. I was there, I just couldn't believe my eyes. But look, overall, it's one of those trips that, you know, I'm going to be going, fortunate enough to be going because it's not far from me.
Nice.
It's one of those trips, Dave, I don't know about you, but it always seems harder by name kind of thing as opposed to on the pitch.
Yeah, to me, I always think of West Ham as, the way I describe them, Grizz, I think of them as like a modern club, and they're probably one of those clubs that I reckon young kids, well below my age, would play on like computer games because they'd look and think, I'll have those attackers. I'll have like Kudus, I'll have Paqueta, I'll have Bowen. But when you actually stack up West Ham, I mean, if you look at that spread in the Premier League, 18 games, 6 wins, 5 draws, 7. I mean, it's nearly a third across all of them, isn't it? So you get a bit of everything with West Ham. Look, I mean, Grizz, look at that. They don't score many, 20. I mean, that puts them around not far off the sort of the relegation zone scorers. And look at those goals conceded, 30. West Ham ship a lot of goals, people. And just in case anyone hasn't seen the recent form, as a few of our analysts called out, Grizz, look at this. Against teams near, not highlight, not the sexiest teams, but giving away 19 shots to Wolves, 29 shots they gave up to Bournemouth. I mean, 18 to Southampton. I'm not even sure Southampton have had 18 shots all season. Do you know what I mean? Before that game, in all honesty. Like, West Ham give up chances. Apologies to any Southampton fans that are watching, but it's the truth. Let's be completely honest. So they give up chances. There's no two ways about it. And yes, all the threats, all the players that you're thinking, who could hurt us? Jared Bowen, goals and assists there. Kudus as well. Not too many goals and assists, but is capable of brilliance of magic. So the way I think of West Ham, I don't know about you when I talk about them, is they've got players that could do magic. And it's one of those where all of a sudden that you could see 2 goals go into your net. But then it also doesn't surprise me when they give up 5 the other end, if that makes sense. And the one thing I'm probably steering towards with West Ham and how I'm feeling about this ain't ending goalless tomorrow, is it?
Jeez, surely not, mate. Surely not. Yeah, look, I wouldn't disagree with anything. Again, what you said there, they're very definitely a top-heavy kind of team. You look at their attackers, and most people will take them in their squads for sure. Possibly in the 11s. You're talking Kudos, Paqueta, Bowen. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they're probably 3 of the best players in the Premier League. Definitely in the top 10 of attackers or attacking midfielders. Paqueta is coming back from his suspension tomorrow, actually. So that is a positive for them, a negative for us amongst the few negatives. But yeah, they're a very, very... They're not see, this is the thing. They're not an attack-minded team in terms of they throw numbers in attack. They always looking to play on the attack. The front foot team, David Moyes, we know, and the current one, how do you say his name? Lopetegui and David Moyes aren't known to be the most front-footed attacking type of coaches. So even though they've got those attackers at their disposal, their game plan's always of restraining. Now, you're suggesting to me and the people that you've spoken to in terms of the watching the analytics and from me watching West Ham play, they're not very good at that either. They're not very good at restraining teams. They're not very good at restricting chances and shots. And so therefore, an attacking team like us, you'd like to think we'll have enough chances. Absolutely, we will create chances against this team, especially if the said players are not playing tomorrow. Sort of, the DM Rodriguez is missing, I believe. Souček is suspended. Kilman possibly, who look in the past I've had a not soft spot, but I think Kilman's a decent defender, and I thought it'd be a good move. Then it's turned out to be, but he's suspended for tomorrow as well, injured. Sorry. So we'll definitely create chances. We'll definitely make chances, but as you say, we got to be wary of their, I'd say, close to world class attackers. I think Bowen, Kudos, and Paqueta are in that category, or close, if not on the verge of being world class. And on the flip side, Dave, we've given up easy goals, cheap goals, maybe, and so we have to be wary because away from home, it's a difficult situation when you go behind. Of course, at Anfield, we managed to turn most things around. Away from home, it can get sticky. We don't really want another sticky situation.
True. Yeah, absolutely true. If we could avoid giving away soft goals, which involve Robbo doing some strange pirouette thing like the other night, or just anyone giving soft goals up, that would be absolutely brilliant at this current time. So we will see how it unfolds with West Ham's lineup. Grizz, with us, this is what I'm intrigued about, because Honest Lot said, Connor Bradley, Canate, no, he confirmed on his press conference, he can rule them out. Dominic Szoboszlai, we know, is suspended, annoyingly. I mean, he came on for like 10, 15 minutes, didn't he, the other night and picked up that yellow card. So that was uber annoying. And let's be honest, he would have been a nailed-on starter for this because it's a huge pitch at the London Stadium, ideal towards, Szoboszlai starting there.
Yeah.
Now that we know he's out, who are you leaning towards? I've got to ask you, who are you picking? Because this is a bit difficult now.
I don't think we've got much choice if we're going to play the same formation. I don't think we've got much choice but to go again. One last push before they have pretty much a whole week off at the bare minimum. Because I believe our next game is the FA Cup game against Accrington Stanley. I could be wrong. Oh, no, sorry.
We've got United, haven't we? Yeah, United the week.
I beg your pardon. We've got United, but we've got a whole week off. No midweek games or no games in between. Now, some may call for Harvey Elliott to play in that number 10 role. I'm not sure if this is the type of game. Actually, I wouldn't begrudge him actually a start. I wouldn't, because I do think West Ham could be got at in terms of, especially between the lines, if they have the said players missing. So that might be a shout, actually. I've talked myself into possibly thinking that. But I think we'd have to go again. I think we'd have to go with the same three. You're right. It's so frustrating because I think we strategically planned these games and the fixtures in terms of who's going to play how many minutes and what. And I think Szoboszlai was absolutely earmarked for this particular game. Not only for the industry and the big pitch, but also his height and everything else, because Souček is a big monster.
Yeah.
They're a big team, West Ham are. So I think he would have been ideal in that combative midfield that I think it's going to be. And that's what makes me think, will Harvey Elliott be thrown into there? Because it will be a physical battle in there, regardless of who they put in there. Even if it's not, their first teamers, the replacements will definitely be up for it, so to speak. I mean, it's Liverpool. It's a home game against Liverpool. We know how that works. I personally have got faith in Elliott in terms of his ability to shine on the ball. But I'm just thinking then Elliott and McAllister, and then if we're saying Jota's going to start, there's a bit of a short team there. Do you get what I mean? Where I'm going with that? I mean, I don't want to be a heightist. Is there a word such as heightist? But maybe it's something that we need to think about, and that's why I'm thinking maybe we go again one last time with the same midfield. I know it's difficult, 3-day turnover. But I don't know about you. I think we'd probably have to go again.
Yeah, it is going to sound harsh on Harvey Elliott a little bit. And I get exactly what you're saying. There's the element of, if you play Harvey Elliott and Alexis McAllister, there's not a lot of physicality in those legs and there's not a lot of recovery pace at the same time. It's just the bit of the worry. So I think you're right. I do think Curtis Jones will be asked to go again. I think you're right as well. I think Jota will start in this one. I think that was engineered. Left-hand side, I'm intrigued by, because, I mean, Cody Gakpo, probably man of the match, or at least a shout for man of the match against Leicester the other night. But Luis Diaz doesn't play a single minute in that one. Do you think he could start this one, or does Cody keep the place?
Dave, I think this is the most intriguing selection. I know you mentioned Arsenal. I know you mentioned the midfield. I genuinely think this is the most intriguing area of the pitch right now for us. And the reason for that is we have 5 fit, relatively informed, Nunes. 4 relatively informed attackers, strikers, which we have to pick 3 from every week. How on earth do you leave Gakpo out? I mean, I know you said possibly man of the match. I thought it was clear. I mean, I saw loads of discussion and discourse over the social media networks and on YouTube, and people saying it's a hard choice. I genuinely don't think it was a hard choice. I think Gakpo was outstanding, Dave. Absolutely outstanding. And for me, he was clear man of the match. But you're right. Luis Diaz didn't play a minute. And that means he's earmarked for sure to start this. But then the question arises, where do you think he'll start though? Because he has been starting through the middle, which then suggests
Yeah.
Jota's still not ready, slightly worried or worrying or concerning, whichever way you look at it. Not really, because if we got people in form and we're winning games of football, then the
Yeah.
more Jota has recovery time to absolutely gain peak fitness, then that's a pro as well. That's a positive as well. So I think that's the intriguing part of the selection. I personally would go Gakpo again. I personally, this is the hard part though, Dave, because I personally think this is a Jota game of football. I don't know
Yeah.
what I mean by that. Maybe I mean that we will get a glut of chances in and around the penalty box, I think, and he's the type of striker that absolutely revels in that. But then, as you said, it seems Diaz is primed. We know Mohamed Salah is the nailed on. The other two
Yeah.
positions, is anyone's guess right now, Dave. I don't know what your views and thoughts are on that situation.
Yeah, I'm kind of swithering on it in my mind. And Liverpool videos there, I was wondering, are we allowed to ask questions in the chat? More than allowed. Feel free to
No,
chuck
it's
in your
live.
suggestions as well,
Yeah.
Liverpool videos, or anyone else who's commenting, feel free to like, comment, throw your thoughts in. I think a little bit of what you said. I do think Jota will start. I also think these games there's an ugliness to them which brings out the beauty of Diogo Jota, whether it's a scuffed tap in or one that he kind of tops his shots, that type of thing as well. It just seems that West Ham away for me is made for Diogo Jota, just to notch one in, however that may be. At the same time, and this is where I swither already, Grizz. I
Yeah,
do
this is
think there's a
it.
case to say it's uber harsh on Cody Gakpo, but the success has been for Arne Slot 1 or 2, maybe 3 maximum, hasn't it? Rotations, tweaks, whatever you want to call them each game. So why would you play around with a winning formula? So yeah, as long as we win, no injuries again, that is exactly what we're after. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, look,
tomorrow.
yeah, sorry, I was going to say, ultimately, it's all about freshness, isn't it? And the ability to keep them fresh, motivated, in form as well, so they don't have too
Yeah,
much time out. You know, have you noticed the difference the week or so off that McAllister has had on his performances? I mean, I think it's been
yeah,
very apparent. You know, and Gakpo has didn't start off the season as a first choice. I think it's fair to say Diaz started there, but then he's come back and sort of made the position his own. But I think Diaz or Gakpo on the left-hand side, I think it's brilliant. I think it's perfect. The output has been magnificent from that left-hand side. We shouldn't focus on individuals. We should focus on areas of output and what a certain area is giving us in terms of output. And no one can deny that the left-hand side, which many have been worried about since the departure of Sadio Mane, I don't think you can
right.
worry about that now.
No, the left-hand side. It's strange in one way. Mo Salah is just head and shoulders above everyone else. We're talking about the best player on the planet, and his stats are just unreal. On the left-hand side, though, if you kind of stack a Diaz with a Gakpo, you kind of get a Salah, to be fair. So it's the combined element that is making it like top-notch at the moment. So long may that continue. And good stuff. Everyone is throwing their thoughts and their selections in the chat panel. We will see what tomorrow brings on the pitch. And we do review daily what's happening on the field, or sorry, off the field. And before you start, yes, we are going to get to the Trent stories. Yes, we are going to talk about it, but it is not just that is dominating everything. So a couple of things just to call out for you. There is an interview with Curtis Jones here talking about West Ham and various the official website, as he says there, because he's asked, West Ham's always a tough place to go. He says that's the Premier League. If you're playing a team at the bottom of the league, it's always hard. If you're playing teams in the middle, it's always hard. And the teams at the top of the table, it's always hard. Basically, there are no easy games in the Premier League. I mean, Curtis Jones, Grizz, if we're honest, and I'll be honest on this, for me, I thought he would have been the obvious one to drop out for Szoboszlai in this one, and bring his legs on later, we are probably going to ask him just to go again, though. And especially on a big pitch, which they've got the physical monsters, as you say, we will need Curtis Jones on top form tomorrow in this one, won't we?
Yeah, definitely. Again, someone that knows that his place is every week up for grabs. I think it's fair to say that he's not a bona fide starter, but he's a crucial, vital member of that rotation policy. Call it policy, but selection, right? That dilemma that all great managers should have. Slot has 4 brilliant midfielders to choose from. Okay, sorry, let's throw Elliott in there as well. 5. Let's throw Endo in there as well. He's got 6 midfielders to choose from. He has to choose the best 3 that he feels fit for that game. And Curtis Jones, I think, is that 3rd stroke 4th player, depending on the form and fitness of Szoboszlai and McAllister as well in certain games. Whereas Elliott and Endo are probably more squad players that are going to play the cup games and maybe if there's an injury or suspension situation. So Curtis Jones will absolutely feel like a first teamer. And do you know what, Dave? I think he's playing like a first teamer now. I think he's got the responsibilities of a first teamer, the mentalities of a first teamer. And I genuinely think his performances have, in my opinion, improved. And people talk about sort of his lack of incisiveness. I genuinely think, and I'm using the word genuinely a lot here, but I really believe he's a slot type midfielder. I think this is Slot's philosophy that is enabling Curtis Jones to shine more, Dave. I think Slot is all about possession, keeping the ball. Don't lose it for the sake of a risk. Don't lose it. I don't want to get transitioned. Slot's from that type of coaching book and manual, and it's very apparent to see in the tempo of football that we're playing week in, week out now. And I think he's been one of the beneficiaries of that. I think this suits him down to the ground, and he's added goals, Dave. He's added goals to his game. Yeah. We all wanted him to arrive in the box and get the odd goal. And how many crucial goals has he got in recent weeks or this season alone? I believe it's about 3, am I right? 3 or 4 maybe? But hey, him and Szoboszlai, if they can average about close to 10 each by the end of the season from midfield, happy days, Dave. Happy days. So yeah, Curtis Jones will need to be really on it. It will be a physical game. They will try to rattle him. He has to keep his composure. The work rate is never a doubt with Curtis Jones. The effort, the work rate, the attitude, it's just sometimes in counter transitions, the speed that maybe Szoboszlai brings, Curtis doesn't bring. And that could be a hindrance in an away game. But let's see. Positive vibes.
Yeah, no doubts about it. So as you say, you think about those goals from midfield, and if you put them together, those boys have got 10 because Harvey Elliott's got 1, as you said. Jones has got 3. Mack has got 3. Szoboszlai's got 3. But even Curtis recently as well, 4 assists at the same time. And as you mentioned there, big goals. Yes, the other night against Leicester to put us ahead. The equaliser at Newcastle away. He is coming up trump. So in a good way, sometimes just those threats or that healthy competition is maybe a better way of putting it, does really benefit everyone. And you didn't mention the main man. The main man did give an interview. He did give his, if anyone missed it, his press conference for West Ham. Now, he did it after the Leicester game, as is the nature at this time of the year, because things just move so quickly. So as we always do, people, we're going to play you a small snippet, and we're going to play you the bit where a more creative way about the contract situation was asked to him. So let's have a listen to this bit.
On the 1st of January, when with the contract 3, things can happen from that date. Are you expecting anything momentous or significant to change from then or on that date?
If we would, then probably it's not the moment for me to tell you now. But in general, I don't talk about contract situations here. And it would be a surprise if I was the one to announce that one of them have extended. So I think that's in a different moment. But just, keep asking because that's your job. But you're probably not going to get an answer from me. But it's clear that from the 1st of January, maybe for you guys, things change a lot. But they are in constant talks with the club. And let's wait and see what happens. As long as they keep performing like this, the manager or the head coach, I have to say, is happy with them.
Interesting. Now, Grizz, we've got to steer into contracts, and we won't quite go into the full sort of circus meltdown, all the things that are occurring at the moment, but just focusing on a Slot's comments and his demeanour. I think it's important to say he looks very relaxed about the whole situation, doesn't he?
I'd really want to know, has he looked perturbed by anything this season? Has he ever not looked relaxed? In every situation that he's been put into, in every sort of interview that I've seen, I remember the first one, and I think we discussed it, his first ever press conference. We thought that he looked slightly nervous, which is absolutely understandable. You're taking over one of the biggest clubs in world football. You're taking over an absolute legend and icon. So you're allowed to. I think we gave him, the pass to look slightly nervous. But ever since then, Dave, he's grown into the role on and off the pitch. And we've spoken about his on the pitch growth, but I must commend his off the pitch growth. And he's found himself in a situation where he's found the three best Liverpool players, absolute icons, legends of the club, running down their contracts in terms of the contract running out. And what a difficult situation he's found himself in, Dave. And I think he's handled himself absolutely brilliantly, expertly, and gentlemanly. And he said the same thing. He goes, look, it's your job. You keep asking. I'll keep batting away. I can't discuss it in public. I won't discuss it in public. And he's reiterated, the club are in constant talks. Like, sometimes listen to what the coach is actually saying. And sometimes they manage to give it away. Or not give it away, but sort of you can read between the lines far more than others. And for me, it's very positive. I'm calm. I saw the meltdown on Twitter. I haven't reacted because, like we were discussing before we went live, if we were to react to every single report, we'd have no lives, Dave. We'd have no lives because there's constant articles, opinion pieces, reports, exclusive news. It's constant. I'd say we're not far off now. I think we know. It's logical to say we're not far off now, knowing either way to what's happening. Let's just bide our time and wait for like he said, the official. Even he said, I don't think I'll be the one to announce it anyway. Either he said, so let's just wait for the club to surprise us in the next couple of weeks, and look, it'll be over and done with. Either way, as I said, I'm not getting emotionally invested in either way at this stage because we have a league title to win. And for me, and to me, that is the most single important thing right now, Dave Davis. Nothing else matters to me.
Yeah, it's true. All the other noise, items, admin, whatever you want to call it, it will take care of itself in the meantime. The trophies, the pot are what it's all about. That is what the focus should be 100% steering towards. However, Grizz, and I know you'll have seen this, and I know people will have asked you about it as well, Trent, and we'll put it on the screen very briefly, but it's the article, isn't it? It's the Trent, the Marta, and all the rumors that are going around that Trent Alexander-Arnold has agreed to join Real Madrid. I mean, there's a couple of things to this for me, Grizz, to see what you think. Number one, they will not break it in Spain that way. Number two, it's a good tactic if you are on that side to try and disrupt, isn't it? And get people sort of flustered, whipped up, however you want to describe it. But number three, ultimately, it's about us and just doing what we're doing, isn't it? So what will be a little bit with this Trent situation, but it will draw headlines. And like you say, if everyone reacts in a massive furore to all of this, it's going to be a long old season, isn't it?
Of course it is. And look, I absolutely understand, until there's no clarification, then you will have articles coming out from different various sources claiming this, claiming that. And I understand the frustration, and I understand the frustration emanates from a deafening silence from Trent, Liverpool. And the only ones making any form of noise is the Spanish side of things, and especially Marca, who are absolutely the mouthpiece of Real Madrid. I don't know if this is, I don't know if this has any bears any relevance, but coincidentally, people, December the 28th is April Fool's Day in Spain.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is mischievous or they're just trying to rile up certain sections. And look, we know there is elements of media that do try to change the narrative, especially a player like Trent, who absolutely must have, indicated at some stage that he wants to play for Madrid in his career. Who wouldn't, right? So, and Madrid probably know this, and there is elements that they try to that they put into place into media articles and narratives where they try to turn the current fan base of that said player against him. They've done it against Mbappe. They've done it so many times, and this is what we're seeing. Unfortunately, a lot of Liverpool fans are biting, and I've seen some stupid memes and pictures made and sort of him incorporated into a rat face and all sorts. I mean, this is exactly what the Real Madrid hierarchy people are trying to persuade him want to show him this is how your fan base sees you and wants you, So this is where my advice, and it's only advice. Everyone can do what they want. Everyone can read into articles how they want, believe what they want. If anyone was to ask me, my advice would be just to relax and wait now. There's nothing anyone can do either way, and wait for the confirmation from Liverpool. I personally believe he hasn't told us that he wants to go to Madrid. I personally think if he had told us that, there would be no negotiations right now. I personally believe negotiations are at an advanced stage and we will get a breakthrough. I believe all three will stay. And until anything happens officially otherwise, I'll stick to my belief and anyone else is allowed to stick to their belief. But what you shouldn't really do is really go to town on a player that's dedicated his life and career to us superbly and beautifully. And if he decides to go, then we can address that then. But to just base it off rumor and random articles, then look, each to their own, but it's not my style.
Yeah. And people, even if he does decide to go, which whether we like it or not is his right, he's got a big part in helping us win a league title and maybe something even more before the end of the season. So yeah, plenty of football on the pitch to be played before we get into that. And I suppose final the main topic off the pitch. I'm kind of surprised I'm saying this to you, Grizz, because we are literally on the verge of the January window, which, as you know, we usually by now we're getting, well, there's no Marco Reus rumours or Simão Sambrosa or things like that, but we're getting a few sort of names through or things to throw up. I mean, I had a scan even this morning. All I can even find is like Endo and Morton aren't going anywhere on sort of things. The left back, according to The Athletic, is set to be a focus for the summer. The midfield, Zubamendi, doesn't look like it's happening in January. There's nothing imminent. I mean, it literally seems, maybe bizarrely, maybe quite understandably, all quiet on the January front, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been saying, we've been speaking about this. I didn't anticipate anything, and it's turning out or panning out to be exactly what I anticipated as well, Dave. I genuinely think the focus will be the announcement of the contracts in January, and that will be our big January. I don't envisage anything unless Zubamendi comes out and says, I'm ready to go. That's the only thing. I get the frustrations around the left back scenario. I get it all the time, message after message and comment after comment about we must get a left back. And then sometimes I look like an FSG apologist, like how the hell people work out I'm an FSG apologist is wild, because they say, oh, you're just defending. How? I'm genuinely saying a left back coming in, doesn't start straight away, even if it is a Milan Kerkez or an Ayet Nouri, you know, they will take time to settle in. Have we got time, or have we got? Can we risk getting a left back in and giving him four weeks to settle in? No, we can't. We're in the middle of a title race. We have to go with the tried and tested. And Robertson has proven to be an amazing ambassador player for this club for the last 7 years he's been here. He's having rough patch, but I think his rough patch always coincides where he has to play a consecutive number of games in this high octane role that he's been asked to play again. So with Tsimikas being fit, and again, if they remain fit, alternatively between them, I think we have enough cover until the end of the season where we can really focus on getting our first choice left back and not paying over the odds for him. Now, this is where I may sound like an accountant, but it matters. It matters. If we go for Kerkez now, just as an example, they will ask 50 million, whereas we could pick him up for 35 in the summer. Those 15 millions, hey, they could be Salah's wages, people, Trent's wages, people, Virgil's wages, people. Do you get what I mean? So we have to be we have to have a rational, balanced look at these kind of things. I don't think there's a left back right now that I can think of that you're guaranteed to just throw in and say, yep, straight away, no, like a couple of training sessions, throw him in there, play him every game. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Look at Calafiori, still struggling at Arsenal, you know, not really settled down. I can't think of anything else top of my head in terms of high profile defenders for any clubs that have failed to settle down. But, you know, there's always a settling in period. We're not in the process of settling in players right now. So, you know, and the midfield, as I've said, I think Zubimendi is the one and the chosen one, but I think we must wait for that. Unless there's a dramatic turn of events and everything else is covered. I mean, I can't think of any other position that needs drastic addressing in January right now. I don't want to upset the apple cart, so to speak, and the momentum we're in. So, yeah, look, I just think we wait. As frustrating as it may to be some, it's not frustrating to me again.
Yeah, I get it. And Joe Sal saying there, I think Kerkez will be the next one to sign. I think we'd all be astonished if there's not a left back coming in the summer. But exactly as you said, Grace, our slot is also quite big, as it seems everyone is, on squad harmony. If you bring a left back in, that upsets the apple cart massively with Robbo and Tsimikas. They're not going to want to cause that upheaval now, despite whatever logic or thoughts people may have that way. So yeah, barring the famous quote unquote opportunistic nature, is expected to be a very, very quiet window. But we'll see what happens, especially contract wise. And we'll do as we always do, have a quick look at what's going on and around the channel. So for AI, quite a bit coming up. I mean, even in the last sort of 24 hours or so, you got Gags, did the Gags Tandem show straight after the Leicester game. We did Media Matters yesterday with David Lynch, and the Up Boys that came out 8 hours ago. They did the full analysis of that Leicester game for you there. Even this morning as well, ladies and gents, me and Bart's did Stat Me Ups. We got the full breakdown on the Leicester and West Ham threats and analysis. There is plenty of content, articles, things like that ever is for you there. Grizz, I know it's going to be a busy week or so from you. What's on your docket? What have you got coming up?
Tomorrow we have, obviously, reactions to hopefully another magnificent 3 points in the continued quest. And then, yeah, we'll have loads of content through the week. Check me out on the Big Six. And, of course, if you haven't prescribed, that's what a doctor would do. Well, a footballing doctor would tell you to prescribe to Football Carnage. And I'd love a subscription from you guys if you're interested. And, yeah, that's my Liverpool channel. We talk all things Liverpool. But let's just get another 3 points, Dave. Another game ticked off, another win ticked off. And let us dare to believe.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just about the grind, win and no injuries. And in fact, this is where it can, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but it can tend to suit teams like us because West Ham, they're not used to playing games quickly on the spin, aren't they, like the bigger squads are. So fingers crossed it is a good result tomorrow. And there we are, ladies and gents. Saturday, the 28th of December, just over 24 hours until the Reds head to the London Stadium. Grizz will be there, so before he departs, I know he's not going straight away, we'll say as ever, Grizz, thanks for the time, thanks for the analysis, the insight, pal. It is much appreciated.
No, love it, love it. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and especially about the Reds.
Indeed. And Sexy Saturn finishing us there in a good way, predicting a 4-0 victory. What a perfect Sunday that would be, eh? But there we go, ladies and gents. Saturday, the 28th of December. That was another Daily Red for Anfield Index.